Listen anytime to our podcast at LarryMarino.com. Sunday morning Newsmakers, AM 870, The Answer.
We don't want to have communities where there are gangbangers, there's drug dealers living across from you, where you can't even go to a park and have a great time with your family. We want to have the best community possible for every person living in the district. So if they're living in a city where it's not the best, well, I would like to make sure that we're working hard to make that city the best.
29-year-old Omar Navarro, a Torrance resident, is running against Maxine Waters, who would like to replace her for Congress. He's joining us on this edition of our program to talk about himself, his candidacy, what he sees are the issues, and what he'd like to do. Omar Navarro, good to have you on the program. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, start out with a little bit about yourself. Under 30, interested in politics. You've been active in a lot of different organizations. Set the stage for who you are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was growing up, I just saw that being involved in the process was essential. I mean, you care about your community, you care about the well-being of how people are, and you just become involved. But, not a lot of people at a young age get involved in the political process. They just don't. They just want to live life. They want to travel. They want to see other things. They want to enjoy life and have fun. But, for me, this was a way of having fun and enjoyment and of paying back to society. So, it's a mission to get out there and to talk to people. But at the end of the day, it's interesting to see what you learn from different people.
Now, set up this race for us because, as I understand it, you've taken a try at Maxine Waters before. This will be your second attempt. Walk us through this.
Yeah. In 2016, I ran against Maxine Waters. She was, it was a big undertaking, and myself was running against her at that time. I had a limited budget. I had $3,000. Maxine Waters had close to $1 million. She spent $1 million against me, and I still received 25% of the vote in the district. What happened was, because a lot of people look at it that way. They're like, wow, you spent a $3,000 budget and she spent $1 million. You still got 25% of the vote. That's pretty good. But if you look at the whole aspect of the whole race and everything, when Maxine was running, not a lot of people knew that there was an election happening. Even though this is a presidential election, a lot of people would probably go to the ballot and they probably just vote for the president, and they would skip the rest of the other races. So that's what happened a lot, and it was a pretty low turnout. It wasn't that high of a turnout. This should have been. And traditionally in our district, the elections are lower turnout than higher turnout. If more Republicans were to turn out, we could actually win. The numbers are there. And not only that, the numbers are there. The district is a Hispanic community, 54% of it. And it changed back in 2012, which kind of slants the favor back into my hand. Now I've raised close to $300,000 this time around, and I've done really well with fundraising and getting my name out there with endorsements, with a level of support for the community. So there's a lot of things that have changed in a matter of 2 years. And I matured a lot, and so I was able to grow, and I'm now challenging her again, but as a different person, not the same person, obviously, from 2016. It's going to be a very huge undertaking again, but at the same time, it can be done and will be done. We just got to work hard for it.
All right. Walk us through this. You mentioned you're a matured person. Everybody has, challenges in life. I guess the Daily Breeze did a story on something involving pleading guilty to a misdemeanor charge in Orange County years ago. That's behind you now.
Yeah, you if you do something wrong, you pay for it and you move forward with life. You don't continue to stay in the past. And I think that's a testament to any story, to any person that is out there. You don't have to continue to make the same mistakes. And I think that's one of the things I would like to teach these young kids in my community, because I live in a community where the crime rate is very high, and why are these kids committing crimes? So you have a lot of that. We have in our district we have Westmont, and Westmont is considered by the LA Times a death alley, and which has one of the highest crime rates in the country. And that, for me, that's a big concern. We don't want to have communities where there are gangbangers, there's drug dealers living across from you, where you can't even go to a park and have a great time with your family. We want to have the best community possible for every person living in the district. So if they're living in a city where it's not the best, well, I would like to make sure that we're working hard to make that city the best. And I think that we have to get back to the grassroots level of it. And I think that, making mistakes makes you even better as a candidate, because you're able to identify with some of the people in the district that have made mistakes themselves, and you teach them that they shouldn't repeat the same trend and move forward with their lives.
Let's talk about Maxine Waters for a moment. People think of her from the Impeach 45 soundbite that she always has. She has really made a cottage industry about going after President Trump. Let's find out where you stand on Mr. Trump. Are you a supporter, detractor? What do you think?
I've been probably one of the biggest supporters of the president. He first announced, I became a huge supporter. I was a supporter of the president before he even ran for president. The first time I actually knew of Trump was when I was a kid. I mean, I think Little Rascals, I don't know what year that came out, but I saw him in that movie. And I thought he was a pretty cool guy. I thought he had a pretty good character. He had charisma. And I took a liking to him, just the very sense of that time. And not only that, after that, I saw him continually in other stuff on TV. I saw him on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I saw him on various TV shows. I saw him, he was on The Apprentice. He had his own show. And I just, it was a character that, you kind of grew into. And you saw him while you were growing up. And when the media tried distorting him, tried making him look bad, tried making him out to be something that he was not, that inspired me more to help him. So I was running my race at the time in 2016, but I was amped up to help him. So what I was doing when I was doing interviews, I was pushing the MAGA agenda. I was pushing. I was all the way working with the nominee. I wasn't against or fighting him or anything. I think we have to work with the president. We can't work against him. And I think what Maxine Waters is doing right now is a disservice to our country. Her Impeach 45 tour is really her tour for I don't know. It's this idea that she has is to run for president, possibly. I don't know, but at the end of the day, she's not representing the people of the 43rd district. She's not representing the state of California well. She's not even representing the country well. So we really have to get her out of there. People that are listening that might be from the state of California, that are from another state, they can get engaged. They can donate to the campaign. Makes a big difference. Really impacts change. So, we really got to get her out of there, and we got to continue to work hard at it.
Omar Navarro with us. What's the campaign website?
The campaign website's omarnavarro.com, omarnavarro.com, OMARNAVARO.com. And if it's kind of hard to remember that, you can go to defeatmaxinewaters.com.
All right. Talk a bit about Maxine Waters and her entrenched strength in this district. As you mentioned, some of the policies she has don't necessarily match up with the needs of the community. How does she do it? How does she continue to have such strength there, but a potential challenge?
Let's go back to how everything in every election has been processed. If you look at our turnouts in elections, they're very low. And a lot of people don't vote. And it's unfortunate, that people don't vote in their communities. So Maxine Waters seems to skirt every 2 years. She gets reelected. And the reason being is that she really has no legitimate challenger. No one really raises more than $10,000 to challenge her in 27 years. And she raises $500,000 to $1 million. So how is anybody going to have a chance when they're not raising enough funds to get through? Because you really need money to get a message out there. If the district's close to about 1 million people, it's pretty big. You have Inglewood, LAX, all the way to Torrance. That's a pretty big district. And at the end of the day, you're going to have something to get your message out there. So there's got to be a way to get yourself more out there, but you're going to have to fundraise. You're going to have to get your name out. And if people don't know who you are, they're just not going to vote, or they're not going to be inspired to vote. And there's a lot of Republicans, they're not going out to the ballots. They're not turning out. They're not voting. So if we can get those people that haven't been voting to go vote, we can win the election.
So what are the top issues in your district? What is it that you see is wrong that needs fixing?
Well, there are various issues that need to get fixed. In essence, we have businesses that have been leaving, like Toyota. They have been leaving to other states that have been offering them a better program, in essence. Here in the state of California, the incentives for businesses are not that great. They're overtaxed. The regulations are piling up, and they're just not seeing any production here. So what they do is they go to another state and they see opportunity there and they just take off. We have to create incentives for businesses to stay here. We have to cut down regulations. We have to cut down taxes. We have to make sure that we're doing whatever we can to keep them here, because these people are job creators. They not only are they creating jobs for the community, but they're empowering our community by giving people jobs. And I think that that's a problem that we don't have right now. We don't have someone that's working to create jobs, and we have to create jobs. At the end of the day, that's why we have 58,000 homeless people in Los Angeles County. No one addresses the 58,000 homeless people in Los Angeles. And in the past 6 years alone, 58,000 homeless people in the past 6 years in L.A. And no one mentions this. But I think that the thing is, there's a lot of issues that go arise from it, too. No one's talking about the mental health issues that some of these people might have. No one's talking about the drug issues that some of these people might have. No one's talking about some of these people that just don't have jobs and they need a job. And there's some people that are just lazy and don't want to work. So, there's all different factors that go into it, but we have to address these issues. So if there's a mental health issue, we have to address it. If there's a drug problem, we have to address it. And we can't skirt away from all these issues. We have to take care of them. And it becomes a problem. When people are living outside your house in a tent, that's a problem. And we don't want that. In L.A., they passed, they had ordinance where they were allowing people to put a tent right out in front of your house. I don't know if you would like that, if you would have some homeless person right in front of your house with a tent. I don't think anybody would enjoy that.
Yeah, and with that, we've got to leave it there because we're out of time. Omar Navarro, it's the 43rd District. Omar Navarro for Congress. The website, omarnavarro.com. Your slogan is Fighting for Your Family. Would like to unseat Maxine Waters. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
AM 870, The Answer.
Coming up next on the Barack Lurie Show, Barack will discuss the news and then explore his theme. It is not enough to try to slow down the progressive agenda. We need to fight to move culture to the conservative direction. Next on AM 870, The Answer.
Sunday Morning Newsmakers with Larry Marino.